Do you feel it? Do you feel the tension? Do you feel that overwhelming, unrelenting sense of absolute panic? Make no mistake about it. The tension, the terror, it ain't coming from J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. To his credit, the Trumper, he is doing exactly what he needs to be doing. Trumper is doing exactly what I said he should do over the summer when he was still running against our former fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden. The opponent doesn't matter. John Biden and Cam Harris, they share the unique commonality of being utterly incompetent. Only difference is, John Biden's got an excuse. I can forgive the incompetence of an 80-year-old man, but when you're 59 years old and you're married to some doofus named Doug, where the two of you combined have the intelligence of the potted ficus, when you have 59 years of incompetence and you're trying to be the leader of the free world, your incompetence is inexcusable. There is no longer any doubt. Cackling Cam Harris is in panic mode. Why do you think she is suddenly agreeing to multiple interviews every day? Why do you think she is sending Tim Walz to Fox News to convince toxically masculine men that there are multiple ways for men to use a tampon? I think Cam is coming to the harsh realization that she fucked up. She wasted 2 months. She wasted 2 months hiding from the mainstream media. And now she is realizing that millions and millions of people have no idea who in the hell she is. And they damn sure have no idea who Timmy Walz is. If you're not using a gender-neutral restroom, it's highly, highly unlikely that you have ever seen a picture of Tim Walz. What Cam Harris is trying to do, she is trying to cram 18 months of a campaign into the next 4 weeks. The problem is she's being very selective with her interviews. She's being very selective with the platforms that she is disgracing with her presence. Yesterday morning, Cam got on her broom and flew to ABC Studios to visit the Yentas on The View. When she arrived, her gas tank on the broom, it was on E, but no worries. No worries. The whoopee cushion took good care of Commander Cam by filling the tank with her powerful boodle breeze. Once the Yentas completed their mandatory worship of their Lord and risen Queen, it was time for Cam Harris to fly her broom across Manhattan to the Avenue of the Americas, where she sat down for a hard-hitting interview with the Yenta of Yentas, the original Yenta, the Yenta who hides under the bed anytime he is exposed to toxic masculinity, the self-proclaimed king of all Yentas, Howie Stern. What transpired was one of the most disgusting, pathetic interviews of a presidential candidate that I have ever seen. I couldn't even finish it. I barely lasted 10, maybe 15 minutes. The groveling was so pathetic. You know, honestly, it was just sad. It was sad to see the best radio broadcaster in the history of broadcasting, a former legend, someone who was revolutionary, someone who spent decades fighting for freedom of speech. It was sad to see a former legend worshiping at the stilettos of someone who would have fought to silence Howard Stern had she had the power to do so back in the 1990s. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel in the description below. This morning on the second channel, we talked about NBA scouts and executives destroying Bronny James, and now the spawn of Bron is being set up for huge embarrassing failure. So if you haven't already, head on over to the second channel and check it out. You know, I really wouldn't have a problem with Cam Harris spending an hour giggling with her new bestie Howie if it weren't for a couple of glaring issues. Number one, Howie outright refuses to interview Donald Trump, the same Donald Trump that spent years making appearances on the real Howard Stern show. My inside sources tell me that Howie is afraid to interview the Trumper because his germophobia, it's causing him to fear being infected with a stage 4 case of OMB. Orange Man bad! Now, of course, Howie doesn't know that he's already been infected because doctors at Woke Memorial, they refuse to diagnose him. And number two, I wouldn't have an issue with cackling Cam giggling with Howie if she were doing real interviews on other platforms. Listen to this interview schedule of Cam Harris this week. Sunday, she was the guest on a podcast titled Call Her Daddy, where some doofus white girl is choosing to identify as the patriarch of her family. She was also interviewed on 60 Minutes Sunday night, which was, I guess, somewhat of a difficult interview. Of course, CBS heavily edited the interview in a desperate attempt to make Cam seem presentable, but they could not escape the real journalist on Twitter who completely exposed him. She follows that up with the Yentas on The View, the king of all Yentas, Howie Stern, and an appearance with Steph Colbert. Really? Steph Colbert? I am sure the questions coming from Steph were extra tough. Tomorrow, Cam will be appearing on Univision. I guess she will be trying to appeal to all the new voters that accepted her invitation to cross the southern border. It is absolutely pathetic. They are doing the same thing with Cam Harris that they did with John Biden. She's hiding in plain sight. She is pretending to do all these interviews, but they're really just playtime with pretend friends. And the interview that she did with Howie Stern was the absolute worst. 20 years ago, Howard Stern would have conducted a flawless interview with Cam Harris. It would have been funny and informative at the same time. What we saw yesterday, that was nothing but mandatory worship. It was sickening. You don't have to take my word for it. Watch it for yourself.
When I met you out in the hall, I said, I'm really nervous because I want this to go well for you. I want it to go well for the country. Even when I watch them on Saturday Night Live with the where they have Maya Rudolph playing you, I hate it. I don't want you being made fun of. There's too much at stake. I believe the entire future of this country right now, I mean, as America, land of the free, home of the brave, I think it's literally on the line.
What? Excuse me? Howie is crying into his bootios because Saturday Night Live had the audacity to make fun of his Lord and risen queen? You know what this is? This is a baby boomer pandering to Gen Z. This is a baby boomer trying to appeal to a younger audience. Last night I was on Reddit. I somehow stumbled on a forum that was talking about Limp Bizkit. These Gen Z kids, they were whining and complaining. I hate Limp Bizkit. They're so toxically masculine. All Fred Durst talks about is nookie. It's so disgusting. Oh. Of course, if that song were released today, it would sound completely different. I did it all for the boodle, so please insert your noodle directly in my boodle, directly in my boodle. That is who Howie Stern is trying to appeal to. It comes off completely inauthentic, which is probably why Cam Harris got along so well with Howie, because her entire campaign has lacked authenticity. Cam Harris explained to her new friend Howie what she thought this election was all about. Now, most normal people, we think the election is about the country. We think it's about inflation, the bruised caboose known as the southern border, crime, global wars, unaffordable groceries, a stagnant job market, a struggling economy. You know, issues that affect most people. Not according to Cam Harris, though. No. This election's not about the country, it's about strength versus weakness. Guess, just take a wild guess as to which candidate Cam believes represents strength and which represents weakness. I'll give you a hint. The candidate who has survived 2 attempts on his life, the candidate who told millions of people to fight, that is a weak candidate, according to Commander Cam. Watch for yourself.
That this is an election that is about strength versus weakness?
Yeah.
and weakness as projected by someone who puts himself in front of the American people and does not have the strength to stand in defense of their needs, their dreams, their desires, um, the work that must happen to make sure that we are a secure nation.
You know, I cannot think of anyone who has destroyed their own legacy more than Howard Stern. This interview is why people don't trust the media. There was no pushback, there was no resistance, there was no challenging of Cam Harris. Howie gave her 60 minutes of free airtime to say whatever the hell she wanted. It's easy to look good when you're not being challenged. It's easy to look good when you're only interviewed by your pretend friends. Problem though for Cam Harris, she don't even look good in these ideal situations. I have got to give credit to the deacons at Woke United Methodist. They have done an excellent job polishing this turd of a campaign. They have done everything they can to make Cam Harris seem relatable. They have tried to appeal to younger voters. They have tried to appeal to women and minorities. Problem is, it ain't working. People see through the bullshit. Cam Harris is now projected to lose Michigan. Her campaign has zero momentum. And to his credit, Donald Trump is doing exactly what he should be doing. Nothing. Remember over the summer when I was begging the Trumper to shut the hell up? Remember when I was begging him to fall into the shadows, quit making headlines, and just allow Cam Harris to destroy herself? Well, over the past 4, maybe 6 weeks, Donald Trump has finally done it. And look at what's happened. Just look at what's happened in the past 4 weeks. The Trumper has all the momentum, and the campaign of Cam Harris is rapidly sinking. When things are going this poorly and you're running against the incumbent, and with Donald Trump being in the unique situation of being the president before this disastrous administration, all you gotta do is let them try to cover up their lies. All you gotta do is let them destroy themselves. Give me your thoughts on this. Howie Stern conducts a disastrous interview with Cam Harris. Has anyone destroyed their own legacy better than Howard Stern? This dude should be remembered as a pioneer, as a legend in broadcasting. Instead, Howie is going to be remembered as a disgrace. Does Cam Harris have a chance to win this election? I don't think so. What about you? Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.